Hey folks, how you doing? I'm going to talk about ancient mystery, and it has to do with the only begotten Son. This is a concept that was it pervades all religions, and probably one of the greatest mysteries found in religions anywhere. But once understood, it's no longer a mystery, okay? But I'll talk about an ancient custom today. It is called covade. This is a situation where the father becomes his own son, okay? Like in the only begotten Son, okay? And we'll bring on some of the ancient mythologies where this doctrine was actually practiced. And we'll also say that it was actually practiced, it's practiced now in certain places. But in the 1900s, early 1900s, it was practiced in many different places around the world, and I suspect it still is in many places. Okay, and it was practiced here in America by some of the Native Americans. They practiced this very thing. Maybe all of them did, you know. But we have this practice in South America. Some of the Carib islands in the Caribbean, Africa, Asia. It was practiced just about everywhere around the world at one time. And probably still is. Probably just kept under wraps, you know. And so when we get into the cults of various countries like in India and so forth and so on, and in the Eastern nations like Japan, China, these things are still practiced to some extent, you know. So anyway, we'll get into covade, okay, as it was practiced by some around there, like I say, the early 1900s, okay. This is where the father becomes his own son, okay. So we'll take a man and a wife, and they the wife has conceived. Okay, so she's gestating, but the father, okay, sort of takes the place of the mother in this custom. Now, this is symbolic action. We know the father's not going to have a baby, but anyway, the father acts as though he's expecting, okay, and he will eat food that's, well, suitable for a baby. He eat baby food, okay? He'll lay in bed. He might even have on a diaper and so forth and so on, you know? He's becoming the child, you see? That is carried by the mother, of course, you know what I mean? But he continues this, doing all sorts of things that we would say a child would do. You see, even friends would come over, and relatives, and treat him as though he is a child. You see, this was a custom that, of course, was symbolic of something that happened in the distant past. But at the same time, the father is becoming his own son through these actions, you see. And when this son gets older, you know, actually after mom has the child, and the child gets older, becomes an adult, the father and the mother, okay, will take a back seat to the child. The child, who is a young adult now, he takes care of all the family business, as though he is indeed the father. of the family, the household. You see, when he goes out with the parents, he drives the car, the parent sits in the back seat. You see? So, this is an idea where, through the early actions of the father himself assimilates to the child. So when this child takes over as a young adult, it is as though the father is in that child. You see, the soul of the father has entered the child. You see? Well, this is a type of transformation. Okay, and people still practice this in various places in the world. Okay, now this is one of the mysteries, though. When we get back to religion, this is probably one of the oldest, or the oldest, and greatest mysteries of all religions. That is the only begotten Son, and what's really going on here. You know, so with this rendition of the covade that I just gave, well, it's a hint to what's really going on. You know what I mean? And how these things take place. So it's an idea of hatching. Okay? Okay, so we say now where the father is like the hatching his own son. Is this biological? No. And this is the mysterious part. How does he hatch his own son, you know? Well, evidently he raises the son within himself. Not a biological child, though. Okay? And when he does, this child becomes the only begotten Son, who has come to carry out the will of his Father. But he's not a human child. Okay? But the Father identifies with this child, just like the Father in covade identified with his child. The child took over the household, etc. So this child can be considered as the only begotten Son in the covade practice. You see? So it is like a replication or a transformation, to replicate, like certain viruses replicate. Okay. So we'll go now to some of the ancient child gods. Okay. We'll start with an Akimite system of Ptah, the god Ptah. So Ptah, okay, was an androgynous god, okay, supposed to be both male and female, like all gods probably are, both male and female, you see. But Ptah gives birth to a child, and the child's name is Atum, okay. But Ptah, okay, assimilates to his son Atum, becomes one with his son, same as in covade. But, you know, the practice of covade was going on, well, for many, many years, but like I said, as late as the 1900s, and probably even now, okay? But, so Atum transforms into his own son. This is how Ptah transforms into his own son, Atum, and this is how Ptah continues his life as his own son. Okay. And then Atum and Ptah becomes a solar, that is, a chief solar god called Atum-Ra, or Nefertum. This is like raising the level of consciousness This transformation makes a lesser God the great God. This transformation makes the lesser father a great father. You see? Because we're talking about transformation into the realms of intelligence. Is that what we're really getting to? Okay. We also have in the Kimite system the god Heru. Heru too, it makes the transformation. Okay. And he becomes Heru hawk-headed. Well, the same situation evolved. Okay. And we also have in the Kimite system the doctrine of Osiris, or Isis and Osiris, where Osiris gives birth to a child when he is supposed to be like dead. Okay, but not really dead. They call him the still of heart. You know, meaning that he's sort of like maybe a semi-trance or a swoon or something like that. He wasn't actually dead. Even though we are speaking of mythology, and many things can happen in mythology. But anyway, his wife conceives a child. And that child's name is Heru. The Greeks called him Horus. Okay. But we see here's this transformation. And Osiris transforms into his own son. He assimilates to his own child and becomes one with the child. Okay. And this is in the doctrine, or the Kimite doctrine of Isis and Osiris. Okay. And of course we have the only begotten Son in the Christian tradition. Okay. Where we have the only begotten Son, in whom I am well pleased. So the God says, you know. Well, we have to get around to who this God is eventually. But I'm going to talk about covade in future videos. And down the line we'll get into just who God the Father is. Okay, folks, I'll be getting with you. Take it easy and subscribe and have a good day. All right. Bye-bye.